Good afternoon, local gov camp lockdowners, because I'm joined by Sarah Parker from Cairn Housing Association. Sarah, over to you. I'm now going to mute my mic.
Hiya. Hi. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to run a topic on how our end-to-end system development has allowed us to maintain our service delivery and also add improvements during the lockdown that we find ourselves in. I've put my camera off because it seemed to be making us cut out. Like I say, I hope you can hear me okay. And if you have any issues, just pop it in the message box there and I can restart something. So that's fine. So today I'm going to talk about kind of like our end-to-end system development with a focus on the Netcall Liberty products. Firstly, we'll cover how we replaced our new customer management system and how we launched a entirely new solution during lockdown. How the end-to-end integration between the Liberty Converse and the Liberty Create systems have allowed us to maintain and improve our service delivery for the customers. How the Converse and the Create integration has enabled us to provide further digital services, which have been so valuable during kind of COVID-19. How the support systems, systems actually support our colleagues and allow them to work from anywhere in any location, and just how COVID-19 has generally allowed us to embrace digital technology and digital services and define the new normal of what we face ourselves in. So, firstly, why did we choose to develop our own customer management system? So we were in a position in Cairn Housing where we had what we call application sprawl and kind of system sprawl, where we find ourselves, or historically found ourselves, purchasing a lot of different applications to suit a particular product or process or service. And whilst they were working okay, kind of on their own, we found they didn't actually talk to each other or integrate very well with each other, and it meant that quite a lot of duplication was on it, happening. We found our users were kind of struggling to adopt the systems and the services and learning what they had to do in all of these different processes. And it wasn't a seamless journey for kind of our users and our colleagues or our customers when they make contact as well. We decided that we needed a system that actually supported our delivery of our strategies. So we've got a big, just like everybody, big focus on digital. At the moment, customers want to interact with us digitally, and we want to provide digital services to our customers as well. So we wanted to be able to have a system that supported it, and our existing systems weren't quite reaching where we needed to go to. We wanted to take control of our processes, so we were constantly finding ourselves fighting against the systems that we were working with, and finding us kind of shoehorning our processes into the systems that we had, where we really wanted a system that worked for how we wanted to deliver our services and our processes and what we wanted to do. And also just take control of our development. It's not something we've done before in terms of developing our own system in-house, and we don't have kind of direct coders or development people or resources within the organisation, but we wanted to be able to really, really take control of our own development and adapt to ever-changing kind of situations, and just be flexible with our systems and flexible to how things do change on a kind of ongoing basis. With all that, we decided to launch the Liberty customer management system using Liberty Create, and that integrated with our existing Liberty Converse system, which is our contact center system that manages all of our kind of inbound interactions. And I think there was a lot of conversation initially during, we were always due to go live on the 1st of April, and as COVID kind of peaked its head up, there was those conversations to go, is this a good idea? Should we do it? Are we crazy? We're a company that's kind of spread all over Scotland, and we have staff and users based kind of from end to end, from Edinburgh to Thurso to Borders and the like. So trying to support that many users in a virtual environment seemed like a bit of a difficult challenge, but actually the benefits that launching the system was going to give us, to be able to provide kind of further digital services and actually bring people together during this time, no matter where they're working, they could actually all work together and continue to deliver the processes and the ways that we work. So we thought, yeah, we'll go ahead. We just embraced it and embraced that this was the new normal. We were going to be at home. We didn't really know back in March when we were going to be back into our offices. And actually now it was probably the right decision, because we still don't know when we're going to be back in our offices, or when we're going to be kind of working in that historically a normal environment. So we launched kind of using Microsoft Teams, Office 365, that virtual kind of development and collaboration, worked really closely with the Netcall guys, spent hours kind of on Teams and video conferences, screen sharing, and really been able to continue and do the development work. And lockdown didn't seem to prevent finishing that system and finishing the testing in a virtual environment. It was just as if we were in the same room. So it was really, really useful. We adapted and approached the agile development methodology. It's probably not unusual in the current time that that's the way most systems get developed. So we're working with that. Let's try something. Let's use that iterative process. Let's release kind of short, sharp, quick releases and improvements to the system, and let's get new functionality out there for the users and the customers to use. We did virtual training. So again, we have 4 kind of key offices in Scotland, in Edinburgh, Irvine, Glasgow, and also up in Inverness. So we managed to get all of our staff from those offices and also the satellite kind of courts on board with kind of video face-to-face training, obviously through a virtual thing using Teams, using kind of the planner and the collaboration tools that are in there as well. And then created a massive online kind of video tutorials and FAQs, which were all embedded into the Create platform so that people had them available when they were going to go and create any processes, or if they had any problems when they were using it, they could go and refer to those tutorials and actually see something in action, see the screenshots, see a video, and see those frequently asked questions. Then we also added in at the end just a virtual feedback and bug reports. So while they were using them, if they had any problems, had any questions, or just generally an idea, they could just pop that on straight on this button on the Create system, and that comes straight through to myself or a colleague to be able to look and rectify. Has anybody got any questions so far? No. Okay, so we'll go on to how the Liberty Converse and the Create system has allowed us to provide digital services to customers, and then I'm going to talk you through a little bit about how that end-to-end process looks. And I've got some screenshots which I'll try and describe that so you can visualize it a little bit more. If any of you do kind of want to see it in a bit more action, please get in touch and we can kind of show you the live system as well. So what this has allowed us to do, it's allowed us to deliver digital channels of communication. So we provide web chat, email and self-service portals to customers. So it doesn't matter that they can't kind of come and visit one of our offices or maybe pick up the phone after hours, they can still contact us digitally. We've embedded all of those into the Converse system as well to be able to allow customers to get in touch. Not only if they want to pick up the phone still they can, but we've expanded the channels to be able to communicate digitally to our customers. We also managed to launch a new self-service portal to allow customers to get in touch, pay their rent, they can report repairs, complaints, antisocial behaviour, and kind of self-serve. So it doesn't matter what time of the day they want to, or they experience, or they have a question, they can get on that and go and send the inquiry straight through to us, and that gets managed in the Create system using our current workflow and processes as well. We've managed to reduce our call management opening hours. So I'm sure we're probably all in a situation where COVID has had an impact on resources internally in terms of kind of contact centre agents or staff or childcare, furlough, whatever it may be. It's allowed us to be really, really flexible in the delivery of our contact. We're traditionally a 9 till 5 kind of organisation. Customers can pick up the phone between 9 and 5 and somebody will answer their kind of query. It's allowed us to be really, really flexible and switch to kind of a digital service late afternoons. So we worked in with the kind of school hours and 3:30 we switch over to a digital service, and it allows kind of our agents a bit more flexibility in their delivery and allows customers to still be able to get in contact with us, although maybe not by the traditional channels, right up until the 5 o'clock time that they were used to. So to give you an idea of how our end-to-end integration works between the Converse and the Create system, a customer can get in touch and contact us at any method. So whether it be on the phone, email, web chat, through the portal, that will trigger an interaction in the Converse system. That then triggers a workflow. So depending on the type of interaction that came in, it will either automatically trigger the workflow or it can be manually created if it was a phone call and we needed to choose which one it was. That will then automatically process the case as far as it can based on the information that it had from the creation, and then it can assign it. If it can't resolve the case at that moment in time, it can assign it to an individual or group within the organisation. They can then progress the workflow. We've built all of our workflows to work exactly the same way, so they can click on it. There's a yellow box and it just tells them exactly what they need to do, and they can progress that, and it's really standardised how our users work, which has really, really helped in the lockdown time. They can do digital communications, so to the customers, to colleagues, to staff, to other organisations, and email, SMS, kind of digital comms. They can also manage any approvals that needed. So some of our processes, such as like gas servicing, if we're going to cap a gas meter, or complaints, if we need to add an extension, that requires approvals from managers or heads of service, and the system manages all of those approval processes, and then enables us to get the resolution to the customer. So we can choose to get back in touch with them by their preferred communication method, get that resolution to them, and then the case would close. When that case does close, we've got automated surveys that go out. So at the end, again, they go out via digital channels, so either by email or SMS. That goes to the customer, a very, very short survey with 2 questions numbered 1 to 10, and then some free text answers as well. That allows them to just give us some feedback on our services so we can learn from that feedback. What does happen is when that survey comes in, if they've scored below a 6, again, the system will automatically detect that an answer has come in below 6, and it triggers another process called an improvement notice. And then that allows us to get in touch with our customer, find out why they weren't happy with the service, did they need anything else happening, do they need any other further actions, and we can continue to progress that as well from there. So next couple of slides, I did have these as just saying to Nick earlier, an animated PowerPoint, so it's a little bit easier to see. Just some screenshots of the system, but I'll try and talk you through these. And again, if you want to see it in the live, just let us know. So this is our Liberty Converse system. When any interaction comes in, it'll come into the Converse system, and it'll appear as a card on the right-hand side, which you can see there's just one interaction in the system here. Every agent will log in and they'll use this interface for all of their interactions, all of their case processing, whatever they need to do, they'll just live in this one interface. So although we work with 2 different systems, the Converse and the Create for the user is actually just one thing, and they only see one journey. So this is their dashboard. Again, completely customizable. We actually display different dashboards for different users. Our agents and our supervisors have different dashboards with different information on. But this really allows us to just highlight how many calls, how many emails, or how many web chats are working or waiting, and what the longest wait is. It also allows us to highlight our SLAs. So we, again, we customize these quite often, but we track primarily if calls were answered within 20 seconds or 60 seconds, and it will show us a percentage throughout that day that have met that SLA. We can also see who's logged in. So this has been really, really valuable, these dashboard views during lockdown. With our agents not working in a centralized kind of contact center anymore, it allows them to go in and see who are they working with that day. They can get in touch if they need any help or support. It's all there, and they can see what their status is. So if a colleague's interacting, if a call's coming in, if they're wrapping up, if they're ready, and what type of interaction they're on as well. So that's all kind of visible from the dashboard. They can then see the Create view, which is what I was mentioning, the workflow and customer management system, just by clicking on one of the menu options on the left-hand side. It looks like a cube. And then that goes through and they get to see their Create system. So they don't actually leave the Converse system that they're in, but they can flick between the 2 as much as they want. And if they wanted to get back to an interaction, they could just click on the card again on the right-hand side. So I'll show you very quickly some screenshots of how that process works with an email. So I've just popped an email in the system. You'll see you can manage multiple interactions at the same time. Again, you can change the setup from this. We manage a call, multiple emails, and up to 4 web chats. We found that kind of works with our service levels. So agents can switch between the 2, and they just do that simply by clicking on the cards that they've got on the left-hand side. When an email or interaction, whatever it may be, does come in, it will pop up as soon as you click on it with this screen. The screen does look slightly different depending on the type of interaction. But on this email, you'll see at the top, it says just in the middle pane, test Sarah. So what it's done, it's gone and automatically detected who the customer is. So that email, it's gone and looked at the email address, found who it is in the system, and it's brought that back and linked it to their record. So this is me. We've got Sarah Test here. And if I wanted to go and view that customer record, I just click on that name, and then that would take me straight in and pop the Create system in the same view there. You can also see a little bit further down that middle pane any open cases that are available. So you can see there's 11 open cases in this instance, and it will show you the top 3 cases as well. Again, we can customize this to change the view or display more cases if we wanted to. If we wanted to link this interaction, if it related to a previous case, all we'd do is click on it, and then that would automatically link that into that case. The next few screenshots I've got actually show generating a new case. So again, if I clicked on the name and started a new case, we just go through our kind of case create screen. They all work the same way, and they all start with checking and updating contact details, and then the questions are specific to the case type that we've got. If at any time we wanted to get back to the email, we just click on that card on the right hand side, and then that would pop us straight back to the email. And what you can see in this example at the bottom, you'll see where it says Citizen Sub, it's actually changed from that 11 cases open to the general inquiry that I just created. And it's linked this email into that case. What happens then, if I go and complete it, set an activity code, it'll log that interaction in that case, and if I went and viewed that case in Create, or any user in the organisation viewed that case in Create, they would be able to see that that email interaction is there in the case, and they could click on View Detail, and see what was in the email. Case then closes. We do have users that just use Create and that don't use the Converse side of things. Again, for them, they can access Create wherever they are. It's really, really well adapted to any device. So it doesn't matter if they're on mobile, if they're on a tablet, whatever size kind of device or screen they're on, they can view and the screen does adopt to the system that they're working with. They can then go and view the Create system, their pages and their platforms. They can go and click on any cases that they have. For example, this general inquiry. We click on that one, then take them into the processing page and they can go and see what they want to process. This is a callback that we signed from the general inquiry earlier, and it will give them the details. We just put a test one in, that the customer wants to be contacted via phone, but there are lots of options just to give you an idea of what we've embedded within the system. So they could make a phone call from this point, they could generate an email, they could draft an email from a template, or they could go and just free text their own email and that would send it out through the system. They could click on SMS and send a text to the system. That would send the SMS via gov.notify. And then you get the delivery receipts for both emails and SMSs and find out if they've been received or if they failed for any reason. We can generate letters. So this allows us to, again, choose templated letters or free text letters. We can draft that. It automatically pops the address and the header and the footer on that letter, and it generates and combines it into a PDF that can then be printed, and we integrate with DocMail, which is a fulfillment service that does our printing, which we found really, really helpful during the current time as well. So it does still allow us to do those letter communications for people that don't have those digital methods as well. We can record face-to-face communication, and we also do voicemails as well and unsuccessful kind of contacts. Just allows all of our interactions with any customer to be logged in the same place, and any agent, if they do receive a call, they can see that history, they can see what's happened, any attempts that have gone out there, and it also defines where the process goes next. So if they continue, the case closes, or if it's a voicemail, it will automatically schedule them another attempt to call them back the next day, so they can continue that contact as well. Once they've contacted, again, like I mentioned earlier, quick survey, just a few questions on there linked to the case that just happens in the background. Are they satisfied, 1 to 10? How helpful did they find us? And then some free text answers. And if that's below 6 on any of those answers, then it also triggers that improvement notice and generates a case for contact from our contact centre, who they can get in touch, find out if there was any reason that they weren't satisfied with the survey at this moment in time, and was there anything that still needed to be done to resolve their inquiry as well. So that's kind of a brief introduction or overview of our end-to-end integration. Has anybody got any questions on that side? Okay, so just an example, I wanted to give you an example. I mentioned about how it's helped us to adapt to COVID-19 and how it's helped us to really change and improve our processes and add new things in as required. So our system went live on the 1st of April. On the evening of the 1st, we had a notification from the organisation to say that we've made the decision. We'd like to complete welfare calls to all of our customers throughout the organisation. So what we had to do, we had a quick process to allow them to get to phone out outbound calls to each customer that we've got and be able to contact them, just find out if they're okay, if they've got any kind of welfare concerns, any concerns around income, have they got kind of friends for family for support, or if they need any further kind of calls or follow-ups from there as well. So what we did overnight, it was just a kind of a few hours work, really quickly kind of spun up a workflow and a process within the Create system. It generated a list of all of our customers and allowed us just to trigger a welfare case for each of those customers. We then managed to progress those and we could report on which ones had been completed, who was outstanding, and if any concerns were highlighted during those welfare calls as well, so we could direct our service and our delivery to those customers. It allowed us to flag any customers that were self-isolating or had confirmed kind of COVID cases as well. And that was really valuable in terms of our different service areas. So Create is used across the organisation, and if anybody has been flagged up as self-isolating or confirmed with COVID-19, it doesn't matter whether it's a maintenance person, kind of a housing officer, or a welfare benefits advice person, they'd be able to see straight away that person has had a case, and that might affect kind of how they approach a repair or another kind of service as well. Like I say, we were really, really able to quickly build and deploy the welfare call workflow and offer that support and guidance, which was really important happen as an organisation. For us, we were able to kind of segment and identify any vulnerable people and tailor the services. So we started off highlighting people that are slightly elderly and able to call those in the first instance, in the first round of welfare calls. And the system really allowed us to segment and trigger those calls for that group of people. And then also we've been able to tailor the service post welfare call for people that have been identified as having any concerns. We've been able to send out digital kind of email and SMS alerts and updates to customers. So using the system and the integration with Good.Notify for SMS, we've been able to send out kind of updates and communication and just generally keep in touch with our customers, which we weren't able to do. It would be more of a traditional method kind of before the 1st of April. And then we've triggered up further contact. So if any of during these welfare calls, if any customers requested follow-up or continued kind of support, it triggers a further welfare call 2 weeks after. And they can then go and generate another call, and that will allow us to contact them again and just keep in touch with them as they need to. So how it's allowed us to embrace technology and digital services and define the new normal. So I think actually, I know COVID is obviously an unusual situation, but it's been there's so many benefits that have come out of it as an organisation. I think so. Just a few of us, it's actually just managed to embrace the way that we work and embrace the new normal. It's almost kind of removed any kind of excuses around digital and systems and adoptions as well. And it's allowed people just to get on board with different solutions that we've had. We've learned that people adapt really, really quickly. We've managed to just kind of throw things out there, and they've really managed to just get on board. And I suppose that comes down to how kind of intuitive the systems are and how easy they are to use. But they do adapt kind of a process, and customers as well, to their new channels. How many people kind of register and get in touch with us on the new portal, even though it's only just kind of been launched, has been really, really kind of eye-opening. Allowed us to really increase that digital communication, and we keep talking about channel shift. I think it's a word that comes up quite a lot, but it's actually managed to kind of support that transition to digital channels and digital communications, and people are thinking it's becoming almost normal, and these are all the kind of things that will continue post lockdown. Reduction in printing. So I think everybody we've probably experienced this with people working from home. They can't access kind of our office printers and things like that. We have a direct kind of print queue. We do have a fulfillment service for customer letters, but it's really, really reduced our kind of printing and our kind of paper production. But it's actually to the point where printer procurement is due in the next couple of months, and we decided to delay it and reevaluate whether we actually need the number of printing services that we've got at the moment, and just generally embrace the change that we've got as well.
It was excellent. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you everyone for your participation and involvement.